Welcome back to another video on Influencer Sports. Make sure you leave a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's Thursday, so you know what that means. Another TNA recap talking about Impact and what went down on the show. So to get into it, you have Ethan Page start to show off all ego. He's been this is his return to TNA. He's trying to win a TNA World Championship. So him and Frankie Kazarian's War Awards, I felt like it was pretty solid. I feel like they did a good job going back and forth. Felt like they had good chemistry on the mic. And then Ethan Page talking about how he's already beaten Joe Hendry, how he is the longest reigning tag team champion in TNA history. Like, I feel like those were good elements and good touches to the story. And Frankie Kazarian wanting to beat up on Ethan Page and to injure Joe Hendry, that makes sense for his character. Like, he don't want to face both of them guys at full strength. He can win with just one of them at full strength and then the other one hurt, not really prepared for the match. So I feel like they both did a good job in this segment. Then what followed was the Eric Young and Steve MACLIN segment, which was backstage. Now it's getting to a point where it's kind of dragging. Like, this has to end next week, and that's when at Unbreakable, the TV event they're doing, that's where it's got to be like, he's either in or he's out. And then if he's out, then Eric Young doesn't bother with it no more. If he's in, then he's in, and we move on. You have Eric Young, Steve Macklin, and Northern Armory all together and had them take over as they can be the top group instead of the system. Even though it is two heel groups, you probably want to put them in a match against each other, but you can have at a point where it's like you got to turn, or I could see Moose turn to face soon, but yeah, this segment, it wasn't bad. It just feels like the story is dragging now and some changes need to be made. Or not changes, but decisions need to be made, I should say. And I think next week is the last week where I'm going to be fine with this story. But if it drags on past that, I feel like it's kind of pointless. Maybe if they ended at Rebellion, then I could see it. But really, if it goes past, yeah, I'm going to say they have the Rebellion to do something with this. Because if it goes past that, then I'm going to have some massive problems with that story. Then she had Mustafa Ali versus Ace Austin. This was a solid match. It was solid to start the match. Tasha Steele, the good hands, they got involved, obviously. Then Ali, he just ended up using a chair to end the match. Aside from that, like, Ace Austin had some cool spots in the match, but aside from that, and then when he took out the good hands and Mustafa Ali, when he went diving over the top rope, that was a great spot. But aside from that, the match didn't really do nothing. I mean, it ended in a DQ, Ali hitting Ace Austin with the chair. I felt like that was kind of stupid. Like, Ace Austin can take a pin. Have Mustafa Ali win the match. Don't Mustafa Ali getting DQ'd is stupid, especially when he has another match against Mike Santana coming up soon. Then Mike Santana, he obviously came out there to save. He really didn't care what was going on in Ace Austin. He just wanted to get his hands on Mustafa Ali because he didn't even help Ace Austin up. He didn't even look Ace Austin's way. He just wanted to beat up Mustafa Ali, and that's why the good hands and Ali and Tasha Steele, they went off to running. Then he was in a car, and he drove off with one of them because they was all in the car in the SUV that they get in backstage, which I don't know how he got there so fast, but okay. So yeah, that whole thing happened. And then you get to Moose versus Cody Deaner. This I didn't really understand. Cody Deaner was like, if I last 2 minutes, I get a title shot. So he lasts 2 minutes, and Moose could have been ended the match. Then Cody Deaner starts running out the ring to preserve time, which is smart. But he loses in less than 30 seconds after that 2 minutes is up. He lasted 2 minutes just so he can lose in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. That's stupid. Just don't have Cody Deaner in this match. Have Moose do something more important. Like, nobody cares that Cody Deaner hasn't won a match in almost 2 years. It does not matter. Or if he lasts 2 minutes, put him in the Ultimate X match. That's what it should have been. He shouldn't have got the title shot immediately after winning, after lasting 2 minutes. If he lasts 2 minutes, he gets to be put in the Ultimate X match. That's what you should have did. That would have made more sense. Because then not everybody is in. It's still people that haven't qualified or been added to the match yet. So you could have did something like that. And then the Rascals came out there to save Cody Deaner. This is when the show picked up, when the Rascals had their match against the JDC and was Brian Myers. This was a solid match. And then JDC holding, I forget who took the pin, but him holding the feet and helping Brian Myers get the pinfall victory, that that was a great touch that added to them, like it added to their character, and the system getting the win made sense because Eddie Edwards wants everybody to be on their A game. So you had Moosey win his match, the 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 system JDC and Brian Myers win their match. So now the system that went 2-2 so far. So what's gonna happen later in the show? We'll find out. But the next match was the match that I enjoyed the most from the night. It was AJ Francis versus Mance Warner versus Sami Callihan triple threat match to qualify for the triple threat in the for the international championship. AJ Francis ended up getting the win. This was a good match though, and the story was Mance Warner and Sami Callihan being too focused on each other that they ended up costing each other the match. Like not that they directly caused like the other person to get pinned, but they were so focused on each other they forgot AJ Francis existed. So once Sami Callihan took out Mance Warner, that allowed AJ Francis to hit the TFL, which I love the fact that his spear is not called a spear and it's called a TFL, like the tackle for loss since he played in the NFL. I feel it makes sense for his character and it's a cool touch. Like not every just because everybody does the spear doesn't mean it has to be called a spear. Kind of like how Rhino has to Gore. I like that how AJ Francis got his own name for the spear. He called it the TFL. So AJ Francis then being able to hit the TFL on Sami Callihan, then getting the win to advance, I like that. And I wouldn't be mad if he was the first international champion in TNA. I think he would be a good fit for it. He's a good talker. He's good in ring. I'm enjoying what AJ Francis has been doing. And I definitely think he's improved since leaving WWE. Next you had Ryan Nemeth versus Leon Slater. You Leon Slater, even though he's just been in TNA since October, you know he's gonna put on some good matches. He consistently does that. And Ryan Nemeth, he's solid in the ring too. And this was a good match. Wasn't nothing too crazy, nothing too special, but it wasn't bad either. Then as Ryan Nemeth tried to use a chair, the Hardy Boys got involved, and that allowed Leon Slater to take advantage of it. And Leon Slater was able to get the win, which I don't think it really mattered who won the match, but Leon Slater winning makes sense because he's in the Ultimate X match, I'm pretty sure, with Moose that's coming up soon. So it made sense he got the win. But Ryan Nemeth looked good in the match too. He did not look bad. Wins and losses really don't matter as long as both people are able to look good in the match. In terms of wrestling, when I say wins and losses don't matter. Then you had this random flashback, and TNA does it sometimes where they'll show like the last 5 minutes of a match that's like historic, and it was AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Christopher Daniels. I don't like this because I feel like it takes away from the show. You can use that other time to build up some other stories. Like the women's tag team champions weren't shown tonight. Ash and Heather by Elegance didn't show them. Didn't show Spitfire, the Meta Girls, or Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley, who have been doing stuff in TNA. They've been building up this like fatal four-way potential match that they could do for the Knockouts titles, for the Knockouts tag team titles. So I don't know why none of them were on the show. Masha Slamovich was not on the show, and she's your Knockouts champion. So you wasted that time to give it to this random flashback that we really didn't need. That's like the flashback is cool, but that's something you do on the YouTube channel. You don't do that on the live show. That's so it didn't take away too much. Like those last 5 minutes, it was really some solid last 5 minutes of the match. But I just feel like it was unnecessary and unneeded on the show. And I've always felt like that. If you've seen the past TNA recaps I did, I mentioned that when they do that, it was a random flashback of an old match. Like it's cool. The matches it looks solid from these last 5 minutes I'm seeing. But why do I need to see this? I can go to YouTube. I got the TNA app. I can go to the archives and find it. That's why it's unnecessary in my opinion. Then you had Steve Maclin versus Eddie Edwards. Like I said, the system is 2-2 going into this match. What will happen in this one? So the system, they got involved, of course. This match wasn't bad either. It was solid. I enjoyed it. Like I said, nothing too crazy. Nothing that was atrocious or egregious. The system getting involved made sense. Alicia Edwards, her getting involved, helping her husband, Eddie Edwards, get the win makes sense. So the system goes 3-3. It would have been cool if those 5 minutes they used for the Joe statement they took out and they let Alicia Edwards pin somebody random on the roster like Lee Ching Lee. So the system could have went 4-0 and won everybody won a match that night. Like I think that would have been a cool touch. Don't know what happened to the Colognes, but you know what? Aside from that, but yeah, I think that would have been cool. But the system all getting wins tonight is great because it adds to their story of them trying to get things right. Like they've been losing some matches lately, so they're trying to make sure that everybody is on their A game. They're trying to keep each other in check. But then Eric Young and the Northern stopping the Northern Armory for getting involved also added because Steve Macklin told them not to help, and they came out there, but they didn't help when the system was getting involved. And then that's when Eric Young left the mask in the ring. Like essentially, that looks like it's the last chance. Like we're trying to help you, and you need our help because you just went into this battle and it was 1-on-5, and you ended up losing because you didn't want our help. Even if it's 5-on-4, like you still have that the fact that we were able to help you, and it eliminates a few people from the equation. So I'm hoping that Steve Macklin joins them, hopefully next week, because I'm ready for the story to end. Like I don't think it should drag on past Rebellion though, which is their last. That's their pay-per-view for April later this month. So hopefully it doesn't drag past that. But by the end of April, we should have a decision on whether he wants to be a part of the group fully or not be a part of it at all. So we'll see what happens with that. Then the last segment, the main event segment of the show, Joe Hendry. I did not like this. Not because I like Joe Hendry. I like the promo. It was a good promo that he cut talking about how he's hurt and he wants to compete at Rebellion. But competing in a tag team match next week is stupid. And let me tell you why. So you already have this injury that you're dealing with, and you want to wrestle not once, but twice. Like I get Rebellion, it's a big event. It's one of your biggest pay-per-views of the year, especially in the springtime. So of course you're gonna want to wrestle at that event. You don't want to miss that. You're a fighting champion. You're always willing to put your title on the line. But fighting in a tag team match that came out of nowhere is kind of stupid. Like okay, and it's a mixed tag team match, so it's not like it's just other random people involved. So like Masha Slamovich and Tessa Blanchard, they have a rivalry going on. So you put the two world champions, men and women's division, the faces against the heels that they're facing soon. I mean, I guess it's a cool touch, but I don't know. I feel like him wrestling at Unbreakable, like Unbreakable isn't as big as Rebellion. I feel like he should be trying to heal up and get as ready as he can. And then, but what really ruined the segment for me is when Frankie Kazarian came out there and said everything that Joe Hendry said. Like Joe Hendry just said that I'm injured, but I'm still gonna compete. And Frankie Kazarian, he come out there like, Joe, you're not 100%, and I can't wait to beat you. Number one, he just said that he's not 100%, and number two, you have not one but two people to worry about in this match. Joe Hendry is not the only one here. And you could have did this all at the beginning of the show. This didn't need to be cut into two segments. I hate when the wrestling does that. Like you should have fit this all into that opening segment because it was only 7 minutes. So you start the show with the first 16 minutes of them talking. I think that's fine. And you leaving us on that cliffhanger of will Steve Macklin join the system or not the system, the Northern Armory. I think I think that would have been a good cliffhanger. I don't know what y'all think, but I give tonight's episode of Impact a 7 out of 10. This is the fourth week in a row I've gave Impact a 7 out of 10. And that's not bad at all. That's a good booking. That means the show has been good, in my opinion. So, like when I say a show is a 7 out of 10, that is good. If it goes above a 7, that's great. But the last 4 weeks, Impact has got a 7 out of 10 for me. So even though it's been some stuff that I don't like, overall they've done a really good job. So shout out to Impact Wrestling. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment what y'all thought if y'all checked out Impact tonight. Did y'all enjoy it? Did y'all not? What did y'all like or dislike about tonight's episode?